Hi, everybody. This is Tricia, and I'm really excited for today's episode. This is our beginning episode, um,
Crazy,
where,
right?
yeah, I know. And because Debbie and I started this 13 years ago, you'll hear more about that in the next episode. But we want to tell you, how did we get to where we are right now? Because life has not always been this way, has it, Deb?
No, 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 no. Oh, please. We are just little Miss Holy Righteous, just perfect people, aren't we, Tricia?
Not. Not.
I would say we are as normal as it comes. And
Uh,
we have just chosen to redefine life.
What did you always say? You always said normal is just a setting on the dryer. That's the
I have a
only,
sign in my laundry room, says it. Normal
yeah,
is a setting on the dryer.
yeah. So anyway, how we came here. I came from corporate background. First of all, I grew up in a very Baptist home. Well, no, I wouldn't even say that. I grew up in a home that we went to church. Let's say that. And then I went away to college. I was doing everything that you think you're supposed to do. Um, and, got married once, twice, three times. I'm on my fourth marriage, okay? But anyway, I was working corporate, and then I started my own company in 1996 where we did trade shows, showrooms, exhibits, advertising, and it's been great. I still have that company. Actually, my daughter's running that company. It's been a really fantastic thing. However, I was not fulfilled. And I didn't even know what that meant to be not fulfilled. I just knew there was something more. So one time, and I'll tell you more in depth about this later, but I had an experience where I left this earth. And by doing that, and it was during a surgery, by doing that, I knew there was something more. So I had every elective surgery known to man to try to get me back to that same place that I got to in that time, because it was the most love, the most, I knew everything. That was the best feeling I've ever had. So I was never able to get back there. So still working corporate, but I drank, I did everything. I was receiving messages, but I didn't know what to do with them. I knew they were not of me, but so I drank to avoid being the true me that I am. Well, thankfully, uh, I decided to go to do ayahuasca. And I went to ayahuasca at a place called Rhythmia in Costa Rica. And it was hard as heck. It is not a recreational plant medicine. Mother Aya it basically like spanked me and let me know that I already had received my gifts and that I needed to accept them, and sent me on my way. A couple of weeks later, I'm getting a massage from the venerable Montana Blue Water, who I was playing some native music, and I'm getting this massage. I had this mask on my eyes, and all of a sudden, a bear is sitting next to me. So real that I could smell him, I could hear him breathing, I could feel his fur. I knew he had a black and pink tongue, and I knew that I was in a cave like thing because there was a hot stone pit in front of me. And the reason I knew it was hot was because I could hear water sizzle on the rocks. And there was a native, and I didn't know if it was Native American, Native Peruvian, across from me, but she was very ancient, like with deep crags in her skin. And she gets up and comes over to me without saying a word, has some tobacco in her hand, and she spits in it and holds it on my stomach and let me know without speaking, which I've only experienced that one other time in my life with you, Debbie. But let me know without speaking that breath work was to be my modality this go round, in those words. Well, I was like, so when the bear was there, before she had even said that or received that, the bear was there. I had lifted that thing off my eyes and I said, "What is this about a bear?" Like Montana could see the bear too. And she said, "Are you seeing a bear?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "In my training, that's the highest form of healer that there is. go back in and that's when I went back in and the rest of the movie played out like what I just told you. So, when I get out, she said, she was very reverent, right? And she said, don't go tell anybody for 3 days. Write this down and journal it. Well, I was on a lunch break. Of course, I go back to my office and go, y'all would not believe what just happened to me, And my daughter's going, Mom, do you think that's still a leftover from the ayahuasca? Because it's, a couple weeks later. I was like, I don't know, but I did take it seriously. I went home that night and thank God found breath work with Alchemy of Breath. I trained under that. I did 2 trainings. I've mentored it. That's been 2 years ago. Uh, as I tell you in another episode, I got spontaneous sobriety. Just my life has totally been transformed. So that's how I got to this spot right here and sitting across from Debbie because she is the other person that I've ever, not in person form, communicated with telepathically, knowing that she's my soul sister and there's so much more to this life than what I thought up until that point. So, Debbie, tell me about, oh, let me tell you this too. Sorry. One other training that I've done since the breath work, which I am a trained breathwork facilitator. Since then, I have also become a QHHT facilitator, which is quantum healing hypnotherapy technique that Dolores Cannon started back in the 60s. It's been amazing. I'm sure you could go Google it, find out what it is, but I do past life regressions. So it and breath work are my modalities now that I use, and I'm so thankful for it. Now, Debbie, how did you get here?
How did I get here? I wonder so many times. Do you realize you said you're on your 4th marriage?
Yeah.
Between me and you, we have 7 husbands. We have
Hey,
7 marriages.
I'm happy for every dang one of them because I wouldn't be right
Yes.
where I am.
You said it because we have redefined marriage. We've
Heck yeah.
redefined divorce. We've redefined it all. We've
Ah,
redefined it all. But I say that and I say it, yeah, I am when I tell you I have no regrets in my life. None.
right.
And it's because I would not trade anything that I have. I don't want anything to change. I am so grateful for where I am right now in every ounce of my journey. So, who am I? Where did I come from? So, on the corporate side, on the corporate side, I am a certified coach. And so what does that mean? Corporate is my modality. So that is the one that I choose to work with from a coaching standpoint. But coaching, training, assessments, leadership development, the way that I word it is a leadership development architect. So I work with organizations that want a solid leadership development path, but they want more than just the, hey, let's have a training or let's have a one-up training. I work more long-term. So we have retainers, we have long-term relationships, we have goals, we have plans, strategies, things that we're hitting when it comes to developing organizations. Absolutely love what I do. People ask all the time, oh, how did you figure that career out? And I'm just like, it found me. And it did. Tricia, you and I met years ago when I was a mom with kids on a soccer field, just sitting there and I didn't know where in the heck, I was coming or going because I was a stay-at-home mom. That's all I was allowed. And I do that in air quotes. That's all at that time in my life I was allowed to be. And that is very much a part of my story. I was raised in a very strong faith-based environment. I was promised in a marriage way before I could even function as a teenager. I was very young. I was only 14 when the quote quote youth assistant said that God had told him I was to be his wife. So there was a lot of I'm just going to say a lot of shit that came along with that.
Good.
And I woke up one day after mental abuse, all this stuff, emotional abuse, all that stuff. And I don't know what happened, but I will tell you, I physically felt something inside of me snap. I even heard it. Something broke. And when it broke, I was free. I mean, I knew there was no turning back. I was done. I was walking out on that marriage. I was, doing it for me, my 3 children, all of that. It was messy from a standpoint just emotionally because it was like the pendulum's way out here because I lived in such this staunch, protected, glass world. And when I went,
Wow.
I went as
Yeah.
wild and as opposite, right? The pendulum went clear the other way. I did not want to hear a scripture, nothing Bible, nothing. So I knew, and Tricia, that's when you and I, through that, had our experience, which they'll hear about later. You and I knew each other. We had seen each other in church. We'd seen each other on the soccer field. We'd seen each other in passing, but we didn't know each other.
And now we do.
No, we do. Yes. And so that started the journey for me. And you know what I was seeking? Unconditional love. I had always heard it, but I never ever experienced it. Everything was always conditional. And I
Don't
went on. Go
don't you
ahead.
think, I'm sorry, don't you think that the unconditional love that you found, that we found, is for ourselves first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's why I went and I went against and got the tattoo on my foot of the rose, right? To love myself. That was my big rebellion. Remember?
No, I didn't know that.
I went
Woo.
straight out, got a tattoo when I
Wow.
walked out that door because that
You
was an
wild woman.
abomination to the body. So I was like, I'll get a tattoo. That was one of the many
You're
things.
a
But
wild woman.
yes, but there was just 10 years of me mentally ill, in all honesty. I mean, I'll be honest, my second husband had a very mentally ill woman in his life.
You
But
mean you?
yes, me.
Oh. I thought you were going to talk about somebody else.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay,
me,
okay, I got you. I got you.
me. And then of course we stayed married 10 years. That absolutely did not work. A rebound just, unless some major redefining happens, but did not work. However, I will tell you this, after that second divorce was when I was what I call a seeker. I was trying to find what was calling out inside of me. Something was calling out. It never had quit. I just masked it. Like you said, a lot of drinking, a lot of really bad decisions, just bad decisions for my wellness and well-being. And after the second divorce, I promised myself that I would give myself time. And no lie, this is a true story that I am going to tell you. So even though you and I were connected, it wasn't at the level of spirituality until this moment in my life. And I was starting to seek it all. I kind of knew this Jesus stuff. I didn't know how it all fit in. I was like, I need to know how all of this fits in. I just knew that there was more and I always knew it was bigger. So I will never forget at that time, I was actually had my own company. I had Cultural Alignment Solutions. I was doing everything. I had a lady that actually I wasn't Cultural Alignment Solutions at that time. It was another company. And then I inherited my company and called it Cultural Alignment Solutions. And it's been that for 13 years. So
Wow.
I know, isn't that crazy? I've been doing this for
Yeah,
so long.
yeah.
I love what I do, though. I have some of the
You're
greatest
so good at
clients
it.
on this planet. I just absolutely love it. And now I get to bring this whole piece into it. And that is awesome when you see the corporate world embracing breath work and all of
Yeah.
that stuff. I can't wait for what's ahead for you and I with all of that too. So anyway, I walked into a training. And I still have this client today. It's 13 years ago. I took my assistant. She was in the back of the room. I was in the front of the room. And I swear to you, this is a true story. I'm standing there and my back is to the door and I feel literally it was a burning come through my back and literally burst out of my chest. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, and I stood up and I turned around thinking she was looking at me. Have you ever done like an
Yeah.
energy transfer? It's like, oops, someone's looking at me. And I turned around and I looked at her. She's handing everything out, getting everybody seated. And I was like, what the heck was that? So I turned back around, started back getting ready for the session again. I mean, it was just like right through my chest. And I turned around, and 3 times in a row, this happened. The third time when I turned around, I said, all right, someone is either trying to get my attention or is looking at me. And I just started scanning the room. Now we're in a room with 30 mechanical engineers. So that just lets you know how far opposite I am from everybody in that room.
Yeah.
Very linear people in this room. I start scanning the room, and I get to this gentleman in the back of the room, and his eyes are just right on me. No lie. You want to know what my response was?
I mean, yes.
I
I mean, I
said,
didn't know.
I know. I looked and I said, oh shit, it's just a man. And I turned back around, but it wouldn't go away. So I looked at the guy that had hired me in to train his team. And I said, look, I'm going to go back there and get a coffee. We're starting in about 5 minutes. He said, yes, go. So I go back there, standing there getting a coffee. It shoots through me again. And I knew this man was now behind me. And I turned around and I looked at him, and he just gave me a nod, and I just gave him a nod, and I walked right past. Now, here's what I want you to understand. For these types of training, this particular one, I do not want names. I do not want anything going on in the team. I don't want to hear, oh, we have conflict. I don't want nothing. I'm going in with complete non-bias. I like going into teams like that, because that's part of my job, is to help this leader get under the covers. Well, I can't have bias going in. So I have no idea who this guy's name is. All I know is I'm getting ready to do a training. I'm going to be then sending everybody an assessment link. I'm going to be debriefing it. All the stuff's going on. So that day goes, we're done. All the assessment links go out, and the assessment links are coming in. It was a Friday night at about 7:30. I hear my printer go off because I had them set to come in, and it's, or no, I think I'd sent anyway. I go to pull this assessment off of the printer, and I literally was electrified by this assessment. And I went, holy crap. And I looked at the name, and it was Jason Lynn.
Ha! Uh, y'all know what her last name is now, right?
Debbie Forcier Lynn. I
Lynn.
looked at the name and I went, whoa. And I just started flipping through the assessment. I mean, there was just stuff all over the place. The next day I called the leader and I said, what is the deal with this Jason Lynn? And went on to find out stress, 36 years old, heart attack, yada, 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 all of this stuff. I was like, okay. I show up to do the debriefs. I pull out Jason Lynn's assessment, and I'm like, yay, getting ready. Now, mind you, I don't have names together. Nothing is connected. I pull that assessment out. I feel the energy. The door opens, and it's
There
Jason.
he is.
There he is. And I just was like, whoa. So long story short, 8 months later,
Wow.
I know I stayed away from him. I didn't know any time I was near him. It was weird. He kept trying to ask me out all the time. And I was like, no, 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 you don't cross that. And then
And he's younger, right?
Yes, he's younger. Yes, he's younger.
You
Yeah.
you cougar.
I know. I had always dated older, right? So I thought, well, let the pendulum go the other way. Let me get a younger one. I will tell you this. I did not want to date him, right? You don't cross business and
Right.
personal and all that. However, they said we could not have put two better people together.
Oh.
Could not have put two better people together. And so they got us, they had come to our wedding, everything. So it was all blessed, but he did end up leaving the company. But here's what I want you to remember or hear. We go out on our first date. Now I'm still seeking the spiritual stuff. And these feelings, all of this stuff's new to me. I'm like, what is all of this? He drove 2 hours to take me out to dinner. We go to leave, and I reached out and I hugged him. And I swear to you, Tricia, I was transported immediately into a very galactical place. It reminds me of like where you and I were before we came here.
Right.
Very galactical. And I can't describe the feelings because it's not the same there, but it was a sadden, but it wasn't sad. But I remember hearing, don't worry, I will find you. And as I am hugging him, that vision goes off. I pull back and I look at Jason square in the eyes, and he goes, I told you I'd find you. And that was it. that is when I changed on a dime.
I
I
got
knew
chill bumps
Mhm,
all up and down my arms right
mhm,
now. Wow.
that, and I just stood there and I looked at him and he goes, I would lay out on the rocks and cry out to you. And he goes, the day I walked in the room, he goes, I knew it was you.
Wow.
I get teary eyed now thinking that is what that is a redefining moment for me because he and I live on this planet. We're married. We've been married over 13 years and we had those moments. But when you know that you know that you know that you've had
Yeah.
1,000 lifetimes and more, an
Yeah.
infinity together, you just go, it's not about this shit. It's not about an argument. It's not. And now I'm able to just even redefine conflict, redefine arguments, redefine what all of that means. We have played and lived our life our way. And yeah, I don't ever want, we'll go around again.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So,
So
Debbie's
that's
still,
why I'm here with
yeah,
you.
right. I mean, right. A bear got me here, and
You know what? Guess
what?
what his spirit animal is?
A bear, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, isn't that just crazy?
yeah,
So, yeah, this is, I mean,
yeah,
just hang on, guys. This is
yeah,
going to be a wild ride because every time when Debbie and I get together, you, something gets redefined.
yeah,
And we're going to bring in other people who have touched our lives, who we've touched their lives in some way or another.
yeah.
And just some amazing conversations are going to happen. And hopefully, it will help you redefine your life.